Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching the first ever episode of Coach Carissa Mindset Matters. So I'm going to be doing weekly episodes related specifically to rewiring your brain and building and creating habits and goals so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life. So thanks again for joining me today. I have a huge topic that I want to talk about. It's been paramount, honestly, to changing my life, and that is micro goal setting. So first of all, I want to ask you, are you achieving the goals that you want to set for yourself yet? And if not, what's holding you back? Because I know we all have goals, we all have things we want to achieve. The question is whether or not you're achieving them. And if you're not achieving them, have you stopped to ask yourself why? I find a lot of us, we tell ourselves, yeah, I'm lazy, I just wasn't that committed, I didn't want it bad enough. That's what we keep telling ourselves. However, if we look, actually 80% of the population want something really bad, and yet they're not able to achieve it. Why is that? Like, that's crazy to even think that that's possible. So I got really curious for myself, because I'd spent about 10 years trying to get consistent, in just even at my exercise. Trying to get consistent, I was like world's biggest procrastinator. I was living paycheck to paycheck, didn't like my job. So I got really curious to well, why are some people successful and why are other people stuck? So I found some really interesting stuff, and because of it, I applied it, I do it, I've become consistent with these things, and now I coach other people on how to do the same thing in their lives. The number one thing that I found was actually on something called micro habits. So if you've ever heard of goal setting or habits, creating a habit for yourself, we think of, changing a habit could be planning to, go to the gym 3 times a week and getting really consistent in that could be a habit, or brushing your teeth is a habit. But what we don't look at is a habit as different things like skills. So a habit is a skill. A habit is where you choose to put your focus. A habit is the things you do, the things you say, the things you think. These are all habits. And as you guys can see, getting to the point where you are consistently implementing all these different, habits in different areas of your life, you can really see how being in control of that and changing and shifting things would make a massive change. So I got really curious. So if you haven't changed anything, just say hey. I know I can't hear you, but just say hey to me right now so that you know, and you can listen to this right now, because what I'm about to say is so crucial and so important. As I started studying successful people, what made people successful, what made people not successful, I realized that the successful people were doing very specific things that non-successful people weren't. Now, I'm not a millionaire yet, guys, but I've become successful in my fitness. I've become successful in my habits. I've become successful in my goal setting. I've become, committed, disciplined. I've developed the habits that successful people have, because I realized at one point that that's what it came down to. It's less about trying to see how we're going to make money. That should not be anybody's first focus. Our first focus should be about getting into the habit of setting goals for ourselves, getting into the habit of creating a habit. When's the last time that you've done that? So I actually started working for a bunch of entrepreneurs. I was lucky enough early on to be working for entrepreneurs, and they were all really, harping on these habits, go habits. And I remember thinking at the time in my early 20s, what are these guys talking about? Habits, yeah, whatever. I'm going to go party on the weekend. But as I started applying these habits, my life completely changed. As I started goal setting and creating new habits for myself, that's when things actually started shifting. We live in a world where we're trying to do fast gains and quick results now. We want to lose 30 pounds. We want to be a millionaire. We want to do all this now. And we're not being realistic about what it takes to get ourselves there. And what does it take? Do you know? Well, I can tell you right now, what it takes is something that I've called the success habits or success principles that will get you there, that I'm going to tell you about right now. So number one, the very first habit that you should be practicing for yourself or getting yourself in the habit of doing is consistency. If you're not being consistent in your workouts, or you're telling other people that, yeah, I'm really bad at being consistent. If consistency is something that you are lacking right now, know that it is a skill, and that should be the very first goal you set for yourself, to build the habit of consistency. Number 2, discipline. Are you disciplined? When's the last time you went to actually scheduled your life in a scheduler and stuck to your schedule? We all say that we want to do things like, I want to do yoga more, I want to meditate more. Well, do you put it in your schedule? If you don't put it in your schedule, chances are something else is going to come up and you're not going to stick to it. So discipline is very much about scheduling it in and then doing it. And the number three success habit that you should have is focus. With everything going on, there's so much going on in social media. There's so much going on in terms of the news. Our brains are just, we've got so much that our focus is really lacking. So setting micro goals for yourself allows you to focus on one thing. Instead of focusing on the next, get rich quick scheme or the next weight loss fad thing that you're going to do, you just focus on building the skills and the habits that will get you there long term. If that was your focus for the month, can't you see how your life would actually change once you've developed and grew that habit? Because then the next time that you try to get disciplined and the next time that you try to get committed in your fitness, well, now you've got the skills to do that. So number 1 is consistency. Again, for these success habits, guys, this is something all successful people do. You want to get successful. You want to create the life you want. This is it. Number 1, consistency. Number 2, discipline. Number 3, focus. These are the starting habits or skills that you need to develop in yourself in order for you to even start on the path to where you want to go. So set a micro habit for yourself to develop one of these skills, and I can guarantee you will start to see more shifts in your life than in a couple months than you've seen over the past 10, 20 years of your life. And this is another reason why I'm really, really encourage you getting into fitness, because fitness, sticking to your fitness, committing to your fitness, being disciplined in your fitness, and being focused in your fitness. Fitness, and that's something we can all understand. It teaches you the skills that you need to develop these habits and these skills, and it's good for your health, so it's win-win. So anyways, thank you so much for watching about today's episode about micro habits. If you're still unsure, I do share a lot more things on my website at coachcarissa.com. I also have a newsletter, so you could just click on that, where you'll get some weekly newsletter teachings as well. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, mindset matters.